My never I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there. I see them yopo.
Yesterday, they were partying at the UPSA, celebrating the outdooring of the running mate. Madam, you're welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you very much, Maru Sanda.
How are you doing?
I'm excited, and I think that my spirit is high, having listened to the learned professor yesterday. I think that for me as a woman, not just because I'm a woman, but she's elevated the office of vice president again, and I think I should be excited about that.
I see. NDC does not repeat running mates. 2000 males used Mohamed Mumuni. No, Martin Amidu. 2004 he used Mohamed Mumini. 2008 John Mahama. 2012 John Mahama used Mr. Arthur. 2016, of course, Mr. Arthur, by then they were still sitting, in power, so it was repeated.
Yes, so
2020.
we repeat. So your session.
But this was in power.
Yes, by your
outside,
session.
Okay. NDC does not repeat in opposition. That's what I should rather have said. I didn't add that. So why are you repeating your running mate from 2020?
I think the question is that NDC goes into every election calculated to win the elections. And so for every election, we watch the dynamics and then we make a decision. In the 2024 elections, we believe that the office of vice president ought to be elevated. In the past 7 years, you've seen the office denigrated. The office has been characterized by numerous scandals. The office has practically been left to say the driver's mate. But we believe that that's not what the office of vice president is. This is an office that Professor Mills has occupied before. President John Mahama has occupied. Mr. Misata has done the same. And so you could see that over the 7 years, the story hasn't been the same. And we believe that looking at the level of depreciation, looking at what has happened to the office today, if you want somebody to occupy the office at a time when the nation must be healing and rebuilding the Ghana we want, then you need somebody with integrity, honesty, focus, and a high level of decency. And so for us, that is the choice.
What is lacking in the office now? In the office of the vice president?
There is no honesty in the office of the vice president. The vice president actually approbates and reprobates. On one breath, he's responsible for the good things, and on another breath, he's not responsible for not anything in government. On one,
how he took time to tell us the successes and the challenges and said what his vision was going to be.
Yes, he said he was not the person who should be blamed for all the things.
But that's true, right?
That's true and that's false, because you are part of a team. And so when you take the successes or the collective successes, then you must be responsible enough to take the collective failure.
We ran an executive presidency.
Okay, so this knowledge became known to the vice president after his election or before. Because this was a man that when he was a running mate, he was telling you, you don't need to construct, or you don't need to borrow to construct roads. All you need to do is to tow the roads. In what capacity was he making that promise?
Possibly speaking for his boss at the time.
Speaking for his boss.
And then the boss comes and decides, I don't care, I'll remove road tolls. What can you do as running mate, as vice president?
Okay, so he's a spokesperson to his boss now. Is that what the position of a vice president is? I have occupied a number of spokespersons position. If that is it, then we can be having the conversation.
No,
I think that
maybe he communicated what the man told him he would do when he becomes president. So when they became president, the man changed. It's like the trotro means.
It can't always.
I'm coming. 1 second.
Let me before you ask that question. It can't always be the case. You know why? When he promised the people of Cape Coast Harbour. And he stood at Cape Coast and said, people of Cape Coast, we are constructing harbour. When his boss went to Cape Coast and he was asked, he said he doesn't know about such promise. So he cannot be the spokesperson of his boss. So I'm sure that he has
maybe the boss changes minds. And if the
so
boss
who lied? Is it the boss or the vice president? So who one person should be lying here?
Maybe a change of priorities.
And so they should communicate that we don't understand our priorities at a time we are communicating. And there is nothing wrong when you change your mind, but tell us you change your mind. But don't say one thing and your boss says, I have no idea. Then on another breath, you say you're speaking for your boss. And for Umaru, for us to be having this discussion, it tells you the level to which or how low they've taken the office of vice presidency. Because in the past, what we have seen is that the vice president will complement the president in doing everything. If you watch a series of President Mohammed's video when he was vice president to President Mills, he will constantly say that President Mills has given me this training. I believe that wherever he's ended, I will continue, because he recognized that he is his boss, and even he as a vice president, he is an integral part. We are only having to have this discussion of the vice president doesn't do anything. It is as if the vice president is just a ceremonial leader to decorate the constitutional provision, because this government has failed woefully. Let's elevate the discussion. Let's ask people that the ticket which is won, what will the vice president do to complement the effort of the president to make Ghana great again? And I think that is what Professor Naana demonstrated yesterday. Let's not go into a man who is not proud of the achievement. This is the first time. Even when Aliyu Mahama was contesting for flag bearership, he never threw his boss under the bus because he wanted to be president or a flag bearer. No, this is the first time we are having to have this discussion, because I can tell you, the vice president is not proud of the economic credentials. The things which he said with time has exposed him that he's not someone who appreciates governance and understands the nuances of the Ghanaian economy. He also has got to a level where he just has to find something to tell the Ghanaian people. And this is a very weak excuse. What we are presenting to the people of Ghana is a learned professor who has been a vice chancellor, who has been an education minister, who with the little she was given has proven to be a stellar woman. She's proven to be a role model. She's proven that the optics and representation matters. And yesterday, she made a very profound statement that much as her nomination will bring gender as part of the discussion, it was important we also look beyond gender, because this is a time where we need to heal our nation. Umaru, devoid of partisanship. An MPP has been in power before, but every independent institution has actually been destroyed by this government. So it is a time for us to hold the country together. It is a time for us to stop normalizing corruption and to stop the deep despair that people are in. People cannot afford basic necessities of life. Mm-hmm. Today, we have normalized corruption. It is as if it is enough to be corrupt. The competition is who has more money than Cecilia Dapa in this government. And so you need someone who comes to the office with integrity to once again raise the level of national consciousness that the office of vice president is not a procurement office.
Okay. What is her track record at the education ministry beyond scrapping the allowances that have been introduced to motivate people? Even me, when I finished senior high school, my head teacher advised me to go to teacher training college because as a child from a poor home, going to teacher training college, I would be paid to be schooling, and it motivates many, many poor people to go into teacher training college. Her biggest the biggest attack on her stay at the Ministry of Education is the scrapping of the teacher allowance and also the nursing allowance.
Okay. I'm happy you asked this question, and I'll take this opportunity to demystify that misconception. And I am very happy that after her outdooring and since her nomination, the MPP's challenge with this woman is not because she's corrupt. Nobody has been able to say this is a corrupt woman. The MPP as a political party has not been able to attack her competence or whether or not she can do this work. So this evening we can agree that this is a woman who is not corrupt. This is a woman who is competent. This is a woman who has demonstrated capacity to do the work that we expect her to do as Ghanaians. Now back to the discussion. If you realized And if you check her achievements in that ministry, she was on a mission to reforming the entire educational sector. She continued the establishment of the new universities. She converted the polytechnics into technical universities. And so, in line with those educational transformations to make Ghana's education better, the government of Ghana took a decision that let's upgrade the training colleges from diploma awarding institutions to degree awarding institutions. When that happened, you make them a university. And what is the condition of the universities all across? I have gone to University of Ghana and also Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST. And like the other major universities, what you give out are student loans. Because what persisted was that if the colleges of education could admit 3,000 students, because of the allowances, government placed quotas on them. And so some of them were admitting as low as 300. So the 2,700 students will have to sit at home. I have here a publication by the principal of the John Bosco College of Education, where he said that in a particular year, over 3,300 students applied. They could only take 270. However, government's quota to them was just 200. So this woman said that, why do we do politics with education? Why keep 2,700 people at home when we can give students the same support, but this time they will only pay it after they have a job? The people who went through the tertiary education, took the student's loan, today they finish, they pay their fees with the student loan, and when you get a job, you are paying. Okay. And you see, so that was the reform. Okay. What the MPP sought to do was to do politics. I have gone around the 16 regions, and in every region we have gone to, we have either gone to a training college or a nursing college for 2 years. For 1 year, some of them have never been paid this allowance. Okay. So which do they prefer? A leader who is honest and will tell you that we are bringing a reform, or a leader who will just ride on the sentiments of people and destroy our collective future? Okay. I think that we prefer a leader who is honest.
She's been a minister for education for 4 years.
That's so.
The NDC at the time said free SHS was not possible, at least not at that time. This government has come and brought free SHS in the first few months. That would be the biggest success in our education sector in many, many decades, if not the only the main success. How are you going to counter that? That you were education minister, you could not give us free SHS. Someone who was not an educationist comes and gives us free SHS. How are you going to debate that?
We don't need to counter that. The NDC had a different policy proposal or approach to implementing free SHS. The NDC,
which was a slow path that you intended to take.
The NDC said that let's implement free SHS progressively. So what did she do? She started the construction of 123 secondary schools, which today we call the E-blocks, so that when you start these schools, children will not be sleeping on the floor. Children will not be staying in some dilapidated buildings because they cannot have access to dormitories. So she started the progressive free SHS. And what did we do? We paid for the fees of day students. And so today, she has been so vindicated. The IMF is calling for review. The education minister has admitted that there is a need for review. The last time we met NAGRAT, NAT, and CCT, and one of their demands to President Mahama is that it's about time we review the free SHS. And if you look at their policy proposals, we are coming back to what we have been saying in the past. And so let nobody deceive you. You see, Umaru, it is dangerous if you are managing a developing country such as Ghana to be engaged in sloganeering and policies to excite people rather than addressing the future. Okay. Because in the medium to long term, time will expose you. Today, children in secondary schools are eating gari and palm oil. Children in secondary schools are drinking tea without bread and milk. Is that the free SHS we envisage?
Okay.
And so this is not somebody who would just come and make promises. And yesterday you could see it. It was evident in her speech
Very well.
that she knew what she's about. Okay. She's not a populist. She's a woman who is coming to bring some transformation to the office of vice president.
Okay. There's a member of the MPP at the Directorate of Education who has sent me some information. I haven't verified this, but I just want to, it's something the MPP is sharing. And they say that the Professor Opoku Agyemang's legacy at the Education Ministry, except from her own handing over notes to MPP in 2017. Feeding grant was not paid from 2014-2016. Feeding grant to special schools was not paid. Senior high school subsidy not paid from 2014. Funds for progressive senior high school not paid. Capitation grant not paid from 2014-2016. She later recommended that it should be cancelled. School supplies as attendance book, teacher notebooks, chalks, etc. not paid from 2014. She also did not pay for exercise books, school uniforms. The GM school sandals was also not paid for. And she bought buses, yellow buses. She didn't pay a dime. Converting colleges to universities was done in 2019 and 2020, not during your tenure. Out of the 123 E-blocks, you completed only 29. MPP has completed 33. What do you say to any of this?
Okay, Omar, I'm very happy. And this is one question I anticipated you ask. You know, what the MPP is trying to tell Ghanaians, and if you are listening to me and watching me, listen carefully, is that this woman is not in for procurement corruption. You know what happens at the Education Ministry? The levels of corruption. You remember that this current administration procure math sets and past questions and paid the money upfront. And as I speak to you, part of the math sets have not been delivered. Why? Somebody wanted to chop money from there. When this woman was in office, her policy was that she was not going to pay monies for contractors or to contractors who have not delivered the goods and delivered completely. So for the buses you mentioned, you needed to deliver the buses before you are paid. Unlike the MPP where they pay for the buses and we never get to see the buses. So today, the one who sent you the question has not been able to tell you how many buses they have procured. But he is telling you that she has procured 500 buses. The uniforms, she didn't have to pay money to the suppliers who will sit on the money, give kickbacks to politicians, and then they never supply it. So she had a policy in the ministry that she was not going to pay any supplier or contractor until you have brought these things. So you see, their complaints are that she bought these things for the benefits of the Ghanaian people. But the Ministry of Finance had not paid the people on time. How is this something that is not an achievement? Okay,
let's move on. Economy. It's almost like a precedent now that Vice President chair economic management team. They are supposed to take care of the economy. Does Professor Jane have any economic background to be able to manage our economy if she became vice president?
You see, because of Dr. Bawumia, I wouldn't even advise any presidential candidate to pick an economist in the next 10 years. Because Dr. Bawumia has shown that you fail woefully as an economist if you were a head of the economic management team than if you were not. President Mahama was not an economist, but economic growth was above 14 when he was the vice president. President Mahama was not an economist, but single-digit inflation was recorded in Ghana for more than 22 months. President Mahama was not an economist, but for 36 months, prices of fuel were stable. So why is it that you have an economist and today, 40 years high, our economy is depreciating? What it tells you is that economy or the economy is simply the allocation of scarce resources for the benefit of all. And so if you listen to her yesterday, she said her policy is to make sure that the many young unemployed people in this country gets job. You don't need an economist to know that, because we have seen that the economists which I mean, we were told it's an economic whiz kid. Today has moved away from being an economist. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you heard Dr. Bawumia, the economist, talking about the economy?
I have a different question to ask you.
Oh, I thought you answered this so that when was the last time you heard him talk about it?
In answering you,
for more than 3 years, I haven't heard him. If you have heard him in recent times, you can tell me.
In answering
he has run away from the economy. Professor Naana is coming to make the economy, which is the lives of people, better.
Let me answer you. Do you know our time is up? But I have one question for you. It has to do with age, and whether you like it or not, it's something that would come up. Biden, did I say Biden? Biden is facing that in the United States. His age has come up for discussion. Professor Naana Jinopoko-Agyeman is old, older than John Mahama. Can she hit the campaign trail and campaign?
Do you have a problem with the current president?
He's not running.
No, I'm asking, do you have a problem with him?
When he was I have a problem with him because there's no power in my house right now. But
yes.
But not about age. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have a problem about the age.
Yeah, I'm just asking you. Yes, I'm not judging. I'm just asking.
I know.
I'm
just trying to say
your
that
team has thought about.
If anything at all, her age symbolizes a woman that has gone through the mill. A woman that has been part of this political system. Yesterday, she made a profound statement that I have been around for long. And so for her age, it should tell you that she's been around for long. She's experienced democratic dispensation and military dispensation. And with her age, she's telling you that never has she seen this level of denigration.
Well.
The president is older than the running mate. He's still even in charge of affairs. The running mate is very strong. Look at her. Yesterday, she delivered an 18-page document without sweating. The younger people were sweating everywhere. It tells you that she's very strong.
These shades you are throwing, it's okay.
I'm not throwing shit. I'm just telling you.
Thank you. Beatrice Annan is a member of the communications team of the John Mahama campaign team. That would be it for Eyewitness News tonight. My name is Umaru Sandamado. I did this with Akosia Ochri. Production by Kobna Wilson, Sami Wiafe, Beverly London.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.